famous gay men who married women before coming out. Over the years, many well-known men have gone through complicated chapters of love marriage and finding themselves. Some even tied the knot with women before openly embracing who they really are. These stories show the struggles of living in a different time and the courage it takes to live authentically. Stick around as we share their incredible journeys, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss what's next. Elton John, born on March 25, 1947 in Pinner, England, became a global superstar in the 1970s with a run of hit albums and unforgettable live shows that defined the era. Known for his bold outfits, powerful voice, and unique mix of pop, rock, and theater, he was a true trailblazer in music. But behind the glitz, Elton spent much of his early career hiding his sexuality, struggling with personal truth, public image, and the conservative mindset of the time. In 1984, at the peak of his career, he shocked the world by marrying German sound engineer Renate Blauel in a widely covered wedding in Sydney. The marriage lasted 4 years, leaving many fans puzzled since rumors about his sexuality had been around for years. Elton later admitted he hoped the marriage would make his life feel normal, but instead it caused deep emotional pain for both of them. They divorced in 1988, and although Elton didn't come out right away, it marked a turning point. In 1992, during an interview, he openly announced he was gay, an incredibly brave step at a time when few major celebrities did. Fans and fellow artists responded with overwhelming support, solidifying his role as both a music legend and an LGBTQ+ icon. That same year, he met Canadian filmmaker David Furnish. Their relationship grew, leading to a civil partnership in 2005, and after marriage equality became law in England in 2014, they officially wed. Together, they later welcomed 2 sons through surrogacy. Elton's first marriage remains a reminder of the pressures many men faced to hide their real selves, while his eventual openness became an inspiration for countless others. Beyond his music, Elton has used his fame and fortune to make a difference. In 1992, he launched the Elton John AIDS Foundation, fighting HIV/AIDS, supporting LGBTQ+ rights, and raising awareness about mental health worldwide. Today, Elton John is not only one of the most famous openly gay public figures in the world, but also proof of how resilience and authenticity can change lives. Rock Hudson-born Roy Harold Scherer Jr. on November 17, 1925 in Winnetka, Illinois, was one of Hollywood's biggest stars of the 1950s and 1960s. With his tall build, classic good looks, and effortless charm, he became the image of the all-American leading man. He won audiences over in romantic dramas like Magnificent Obsession and playful comedies with Doris Day, turning into both a box office giant and a cultural symbol of traditional masculinity. But behind that polished image, Hudson carried a secret. In 1955, at the height of his fame, he married Phyllis Gates, a former secretary to his powerful agent, Henry Wilson. The marriage lasted about 3 years and has long been seen as a lavender marriage arranged to quiet ongoing rumors about his sexuality and protect his heartthrob image. Gates later said she didn't know Hudson was gay at the time, though later accounts suggest she confronted him after being shown proof of his relationships with men. The couple divorced in 1958, and Hudson kept up his public persona while keeping his private life hidden, never acknowledging his sexuality during his lifetime, largely because of the conservative culture of the era and the career-ending risk such a revelation carried. It wasn't until July 1985, when Hudson publicly announced he had AIDS, that his sexuality became widely recognized. Just a few months later, on October 2nd, 1985, he passed away from complications of the disease. His announcement was groundbreaking. Hudson was the first major American celebrity to go public with an AIDS diagnosis, putting a human face on a crisis that had long been ignored or stigmatized. Hudson's death became a turning point in public awareness, sparking national conversations about HIV/AIDS in the media and politics. Today, his legacy is remembered in 2 ways: as a gifted actor who defined Hollywood glamour in his era, and as an unlikely catalyst for empathy activism and research in the fight against AIDS. Philip Schofield, born on April 1, 1962, in Salisbury, England, is one of the most familiar faces on British television. Best known as the longtime co-host of ITV's This Morning, he built a decades-long career with his warmth, professionalism, and quick sense of humor. For over 20 years, viewers knew him not just as a trusted presenter, but also as a devoted husband and father. Married to Stephanie Lowe since 1993, he often shared light-hearted stories about their life together. The couple raised 2 daughters and were seen by many as the picture of a perfect family. In February 2020, after 27 years of marriage, Schofield made headlines when he publicly came out as gay. He first shared the news in a heartfelt Instagram post, then followed it with an emotional, open conversation on This Morning. Speaking with honesty and vulnerability, he explained that while he still loved his wife and children deeply, he could no longer live with the inner conflict of hiding his true identity. The announcement shocked many, but it was met with overwhelming support from fans, colleagues, and the LGBTQ+ community. Schofield emphasized that his marriage had always been real and full of love, even as he privately struggled with his sexuality. Despite the revelation, he and Stephanie stayed close, supporting each other through the change. As of 2025, they haven't divorced, and their family remains united. His decision to come out later in life resonated with countless people, especially those who had spent years in silence or felt trapped by social pressures. In British television, it was a landmark moment not just because of its emotional honesty, but also because of the timing. A well-known public figure choosing authenticity and openness in midlife sent a powerful message. To many, Philip Schofield's story is more than just a personal revelation. It's a reminder that self-acceptance has no deadline, and that even those who seem to have the perfect life may be carrying hidden struggles. His journey continues to inspire conversations about identity love and the courage it takes to live your truth. Barry Manilow, born June 17, 1943 in Brooklyn, New York, became a global star in the 1970s, with unforgettable hits like Mandy Copacabana and Can't Smile Without You. Known for his smooth voice, heartfelt ballads, and signature showmanship, he became one of the most beloved performers of the era. His concerts drew millions of fans, especially women who helped drive his record-breaking career. In 1964, at just 21, Manilow married his high school sweetheart, Susan Dixler. The marriage lasted only about a year before being annulled in 1966. Looking back, he called Susan the perfect wife, but admitted he wasn't ready for marriage. Afterward, he threw himself into music, keeping his personal life carefully guarded. For decades, speculation swirled about his sexuality, but in an industry less accepting of openly gay artists, he stayed silent, worried about losing the loyal female audience at the heart of his success. Privately, though, his life was full. In 1978, he met TV executive Gary Keefe, who became his lifelong partner. Their relationship, built on love and respect, stayed mostly out of the spotlight for nearly 40 years. In 2014, they married in a quiet ceremony at their Palm Springs home, surrounded by close friends and family. The news wasn't public until 2017 when Manilow, then 73, confirmed in People magazine that he was gay and had been with Keefe since the late 70s. His late-in-life honesty was met with overwhelming support. Fans around the world expressed joy that he finally felt free to share his truth. Today, his partnership with Keefe is seen as one of entertainment's most enduring love stories, a testament to loyalty, courage, and the power of living authentically, no matter how long it takes. Anthony Perkins, born April 4, 1932 in New York City, became a legend of American cinema through his unforgettable role as Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho 1960. His performance secured his place as one of Hollywood's most unique actors, yet behind the curtain, his personal life was carefully concealed. In 1973, Perkins wed photographer and actress Barry Berenson. The pair had 2 sons, including actor Oz Perkins, and stayed married until Anthony's passing in 1992. To the outside world, their relationship looked like an ideal union, but revelations after his death revealed a more complicated truth. The 1996 biography, Split Image, by Charles Weinkauf, detailed romantic involvements Perkins had with men, including dancer Rudolf Nureyev and actor Tab Hunter, who later confirmed their relationship in his own memoir. Perkins never publicly discussed his sexuality during his lifetime, illustrating the immense social and professional pressures that gay actors faced in mid-20th century Hollywood. Reports suggest that during the 1950s, he even underwent so-called therapy meant to curb same-sex attraction, a practice now discredited and universally condemned. His choice to keep his private life hidden was not uncommon for the era. At a time when even a rumor about one's sexuality could destroy a career, secrecy was a form of protection. Perkins navigated these realities while building a career that stretched from psychological thrillers to Broadway productions, always retaining an air of mystery. Tragically, he died on September 12, 1992, at the age of 60 due to complications from AIDS. In a cruel twist, his widow, Barry Berenson, was killed 9 years later in the September 11th attacks as a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11. Today, Anthony Perkins's story is remembered through 2 perspectives: his extraordinary artistic legacy and the hidden struggles endured by LGBTQ+ individuals during Hollywood's golden age. His life stands as a powerful reminder of how far society has progressed and how much was lost to fear and prejudice in earlier decades. Michael C. Hall, born on February 1, 1971 in Raleigh, North Carolina, gained recognition for his praised portrayals as funeral director David Fisher in HBO's 6 Feet Under and as the morally layered anti-hero in Dexter. Throughout the years, Hall's private life included notable marriages to actresses Amy Spanger and Jennifer Carpenter, and since 2016 to literary critic Morgan McGregor, a union that continues today. Due to these public partnerships with women, Hall was long assumed to be heterosexual. However, in 2018, during a conversation with the Daily Beast, he responded to ongoing questions regarding his orientation. He disclosed that he did not see himself as entirely straight, admitting that he had felt both emotional and physical attractions extending beyond conventional labels. Hall refrained from defining himself as gay or bisexual. Instead, his remarks embraced the notion that sexuality lies on a spectrum an acknowledgement that pushes against binary assumptions and mirrors a wider cultural movement toward viewing human attraction as more fluid. What set Hall's disclosure apart was its setting. It wasn't a post-divorce confession, nor the exposure of a long-concealed same-sex relationship. It was rather a frank instance of self-reflection from a man still in a traditional heterosexual marriage speaking openly about the intricacy of desire. For many in the spotlight, particularly men, such transparency can still seem daunting. Hall's decision to express his truth, however subtle, contributes to the developing dialogue around identity, illustrating that self-discovery can be an ongoing process at any stage of life. Alan Cumming, born in Aberfeldy, Scotland, is often seen as one of the most adaptable artists of his era. Renowned for his shape-shifting talent to move seamlessly between theater, movies, and television, he has forged a career that resists simple classification. In the mid-1990s, as his recognition was beginning to grow in the UK, he wed actress Hilary Lyon. The pair married in 1995, but their union lasted only a little over a year, concluding in 1996. At that period, he had not openly spoken about his orientation. After the separation, he was romantically linked to actress Saffron Burrows for 2 years, a relationship that kept his private life in the spotlight while his career continued to climb. His breakthrough internationally arrived in the late 1990s, most notably with his Tony Award-winning portrayal of the MC in the 1998 Broadway revival of Cabaret. By then, he had also become recognizable to moviegoers through appearances in GoldenEye 1995 and later X2 X-Men United 2003. Cumming's public recognition of his bisexuality wasn't defined by one single disclosure, but instead by a gradual willingness to discuss it in interviews and at events. As his celebrity expanded worldwide, he started to speak more freely about his attractions to individuals of multiple genders, challenging the strict categories that had long shaped ideas of sexuality in show business. His visibility was particularly meaningful during a cultural period when bisexual men in Hollywood had far less representation than gay or lesbian figures. In 2005, he began a partnership with American illustrator Grant Schaffer. 2 years later, in January 2007, the two entered into a civil union in London. On their 5th anniversary in 2012, they wed again in New York City. Soon after, same-sex marriage was legalized in the state, a symbolic gesture reflecting both their personal devotion and the broader strides of LGBTQ+ rights. Cumming's personal path echoes the experiences of many bisexual men, balancing both public and intimate relationships in an industry long rooted in heteronormative norms. His earlier choice to marry a woman was not uncommon for men of his generation, still exploring or reconciling their sense of self in a less tolerant cultural atmosphere. Today, he is honored not only for his creative contributions, but also for his candor and his role in advancing LGBTQ+ visibility, solidifying his reputation as both an entertainer and a cultural pioneer. Brian Lord, born November 5, 1960, is considered one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. As a managing partner and co-chairman of creative artists agency CAA, a major firm representing top-tier performers, filmmakers, and creators, Lord has spent decades influencing the entertainment world from behind the curtain. In the early 1990s, his private life briefly entered the public eye when he began dating actress and writer Carrie Fisher, adored globally for her role as Princess Leia in Star Wars. Though the two never officially married, they lived together as companions and were widely seen as one of Hollywood's notable couples. In 1992, they welcomed a daughter, Billie Lord, who would later follow her mother's path as an actress. To the outside world, their partnership appeared stable and affectionate. Yet in 1994, Lord revealed to Fisher that he was gay and had fallen in love with another man. Fisher would later speak candidly about the shock and emotional challenge of that disclosure. The split, though painful, did not end their connection. Both stayed deeply devoted to raising Billy in a home filled with love and mutual regard. Over time, they were frequently spotted together at family gatherings, maintaining a bond that went against Hollywood's stereotype of turbulent breakups. For years, Lord kept his personal affairs away from the spotlight, concentrating on his work as a deal-maker for some of the industry's biggest talents. But as public opinion toward LGBTQ+ identities shifted, he became more forthcoming about his private life. His long-term romance with Bruce Bozzi, a restaurateur and media executive, eventually became known, and in 2016 the two were married. After their wedding, Bozzi legally adopted Ava, his daughter, from a prior relationship, joining Lord's extended family alongside Billy. Lord's journey illustrates the complicated realities encountered by many men of his era, balancing personal identity within a culture that once offered little room for openly gay public figures, particularly those in positions of power. While his path began in the spotlight of a heterosexual relationship with one of Hollywood's most iconic women, it evolved into a life defined by honesty, lasting companionship, and a modern blended family. Today, he stands not only as a giant of the entertainment business, but also as a quiet example of how authenticity and professional success can thrive together in an industry that has not always celebrated diversity of identity. Jason Mraz, with his blend of pop soul and reggae influences, distinguished himself in the American singer-songwriter landscape. His rise to fame came in the mid-2000s with hit singles like I'm Yours, an anthem of hope and connection, and Lucky, a romantic collaboration with Colby Kylot. Recognized for his lively stage energy and sincere lyrics, Mraz became a hallmark of uplifting music for audiences worldwide. Privately, however, Mraz was on a quieter path of self-discovery concerning his sexual orientation. In 2010, he became engaged to fellow singer-songwriter Tristan Prettyman, a partnership that appeared to be an ideal match in the public's view. Yet, before they could wed, the engagement ended. Although Mraz had been involved with women throughout his career, the breakup signaled a period of introspection and greater openness with his supporters. In 2015, he married Christina Carano, a chef and businesswoman, describing their union as one founded on mutual admiration, creativity, and shared principles. At that stage, he had not yet publicly spoken about the full range of his attractions, instead allowing his music to express themes of love in its many dimensions. That changed in 2018 when Mraz penned a heartfelt letter to the LGBTQ+ community in Billboard. In it, he wrote the now famous phrase, "I am with you," a line both lighthearted and powerful in its affirmation. The letter disclosed that he identifies as bisexual, acknowledging relationships with both men and women. Mraz later clarified that his marriage to Christina was not in conflict with his bisexuality, but rather an extension of his authentic self, showing that love, in his words, knows no limits. His coming out received an overwhelmingly positive reaction from admirers and fellow artists, many applauding his bravery and the genuineness with which he addressed the subject. For some, his revelation was yet another example of how well-known figures can expand public awareness of sexual fluidity, especially among audiences who may not have previously considered the complexities of bisexual identity. Today, Jason Mraz continues to perform record and champion causes close to his heart, from environmental activism to LGBTQ+ advocacy. His personal journey, woven together with a career built on messages of harmony and joy, stands as a testament that living authentically through music or life choices can be both freeing and inspiring. Little Richard, born Richard Wayne Penniman on December 5, 1932 in Macon, Georgia, was one of the pioneering architects of rock and roll. He exploded onto the scene with dynamic hits like Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally. Blending gospel passion, boogie-woogie rhythms, and flamboyant performance flair, he created a sound and image that permanently reshaped American music. His pompadour hairstyle, sparkling suits, and uninhibited stage antics challenged both musical traditions and cultural expectations of the 1950s, an era dominated by racial segregation and strict notions of gender and sexuality. At the peak of his early stardom, Richard wed Ernestine Campbell in 1959. To the outside world, it seemed like a conventional marriage. But privately, Richard wrestled with his sexual identity. Even prior to the marriage, he had relationships with men and struggled with questions about who he truly was. The cultural pressures of the time, particularly within conservative faith-based communities, and a music industry built on heteronormative images, forced him to conceal his reality. The marriage dissolved in 1963, and in later years Richard openly admitted that he had always known he was gay. Still, his public stance on homosexuality shifted multiple times over the decades. On some occasions, he embraced his sexuality, speaking openly about his relationships with men. On others, he rejected it, citing religious beliefs that revealed his deep inner turmoil. These contradictions were not merely personal. They reflected the wider challenges many LGBTQ+ individuals faced during the 20th century, when acceptance was rare and self-expression could result in professional downfall. For Richard, the struggle between faith fame and selfhood lasted a lifetime. Yet his moments of candor, particularly during the 1980s and 1990s, helped ignite more open discussions about sexuality within the music industry. Younger performers, both gay and straight, have acknowledged his bravery in testing cultural limits, even when his own comfort with his truth fluctuated. Little Richard passed away on May 9, 2020, at the age of 87 from bone cancer. His legacy endures not only in the revolutionary music that influenced generations, but also in the way he embodied the complexity of living truthfully in a world that often demanded conformity. His life continues to serve as a reminder that cultural revolutions are rarely simple, but they leave behind a rhythm that keeps moving forward. Peter Allen, born on February 10, 1944 in Tenterfield, Australia, was a radiant performer whose charm and songwriting gift made him a standout in the music industry. Renowned for his lively shows and emotional ballads, Allen could captivate crowds with just a smile or a playful touch on the piano. In 1967, he wed American actress and singer Liza Minnelli, daughter of Hollywood legend Judy Garland. Their marriage united two entertainment dynasties and attracted significant media attention. For 7 years, they were seen as one of show business's golden couples. Yet behind the sparkle, speculation about Allen's sexuality persisted. Reports suggested that Minnelli discovered he was involved with a man, a revelation that contributed to their 1974 divorce. Following their separation, Allen grew more open in private about being gay, though he never issued an official public declaration. By the late 1970s, his orientation was regarded as an open secret within the industry, reflecting both shifting cultural attitudes and the ongoing stigma of the period. Professionally, Allen thrived. He wrote and performed the upbeat anthem I Go to Rio and co-wrote I Honestly Love You, which became a chart-topping success for Olivia Newton-John and earned a Grammy. His shows mixed humor feeling and theatrical flair, leaving audiences with unforgettable memories. In his personal world, Allen shared a long-term partnership with model Gregory Connell. Their relationship endured until Connell's passing in 1984 from an AIDS-related illness. Allen continued his career, but the loss left a profound impact on him. The AIDS epidemic was devastating the creative community, and in 1992, Allen himself died at the age of 48 from AIDS-related complications. His life and contributions were later honored in the Australian stage musical The Boy from Oz, which celebrated his talent and told his story with honesty and compassion. For those who knew or admired him, Peter Allen remains a symbol of joy, strength, and living authentically, even during a time when that carried enormous personal risk. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. See you in the next one.